Alrighty, guys. So earlier on in this podcast, I talked about my hopes and predictions for Ironheart. And this segment doesn't really change any of those. But the news that we're going to talk about here, which came out a little bit after I recorded my hopes and predictions segment, has me a little more worried than I would have liked to have been about Ironheart. So we just got confirmation. And by the time you're listening to this, this might be old news, or at least this is going to be known news, because hopefully this will release right before Ironheart. So you guys will have known this already. But Ironheart is going to rather unleash or go by a very unconventional, at least for Disney standards, release strategy. What I mean by that is that we got confirmation just before, actually exactly a week before the Ironheart premiere, that Ironheart is going to be split up into 2 releases. And so Ironheart will be done within the span of 7 days. June 24th, we'll release episodes 1, 2, and 3. And July 1st, we'll release episodes 4, 5, and 6. Now, on the surface, this in itself is not necessarily concerning. I think, though, if you look back at historical precedent for the MCU, there are some reasons to be a little bit concerned. First of all, like I've been saying before, and if you are listening to the entire podcast, and we already talked about this in the previous segment, about how, Ironheart seemed to be a project that was just buried for a while and has now come back, and it's almost like, hey, let's just get this out here, which I hope is not the case. I hope this series ends up being my favorite series of all of them. I really do. I really, really do. I don't have a lot of confidence that it will, and this lends to it, because the only other series in the MCU who did not release their episodes weekly, and I'm not talking about a 2-episode premiere or whatnot, or I'm not even talking about an Andor style where you have 3 episodes every week, but it's very intentional, right? Like, sure, most MCU Disney Plus series, lately at least, or maybe not most, but a few of them, like Daredevil Born Again, will release their first 2 episodes on the first week. And even Daredevil Born Again had released a couple episodes in 1 week later on. So that's all fine, right? That's all fine. I think even Skeleton Crew did that, so it's just been a trend. That's not what I'm worried about. So before this news, right, I was hearing, Ironheart's going to release its first 3 episodes, which is half the season, and in 1 week. And I was like, okay, sure, why not? Had me a little bit concerned, but I was like, okay, if you go 1, 2, 3, and then you just go 4, 5, and 6, fine, whatever. Hearing this news, though, evokes to me one show in particular, and that is Echo. Echo actually did not employ this strategy. What Echo did was release all 5 episodes on the same day, January of 2023. And that in itself was it 2024? Maybe 2024. That in itself was not a good thing, because while I personally thought Echo was fine, it was okay, clearly Disney did not have faith in that show to release all 5 episodes at once. Because if you think about it, right, even though the MCU Disney Plus shows have been up and down, they've been pretty rocky, let's be honest. They have not been consistent, to say the least. One of the things that, that Marvel Disney Plus shows had going for them was sort of the weekly anticipation. Even going back to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki Season 2, Daredevil Born Again, the weekly anticipation, right? Other shows, even Agatha all along, to an extent, had the weekly anticipation for it as well. She-Hulk maybe less so, but Miss Marvel for sure. And really the crown jewel of all of this is, of course, WandaVision. WandaVision was the show, it was appointment television. Everybody wanted to see it every week and talk about it every week. Marvel, and to an extent Disney and Star Wars and all the other shows that they produce, Marvel knows that if they have something really good, they're going to want to space it out. And it's not like any other big Disney show is going to come out soon. We're not going to count Eyes of Wakanda. That's sort of an anthology. But even then, Ironheart could have finished up right around the time Eyes of Wakanda was going to release. There's no other big Star Wars or Marvel show that's coming out until December, I think, for Wonder Man. So it's weird. And it's concerning because if they knew that Ironheart was going to generate that kind of buzz, then you'd think they'd at least, maybe they release the first 2 episodes at once and then they go 3, 4, 5, and 6. But now releasing it in 2 halves has me a little bit worried that they're like, yeah, this show is not going to really land. Now, counter argument to that, maybe, and this doesn't really ring true to me, this doesn't seem like it's very likely, but maybe they looked at Ironheart very much like they did with Andor, and they said, no, this show really does function much better in 3 and 3. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. Frankly, that could be an explanation as to what's going on here. It doesn't seem very likely to me, to be quite honest with you. But again, as we look forward to Ironheart, and Ironheart, again, could be amazing. I don't know. I'm just saying, based on precedent, that this to me is not a good sign. I'm hoping for the best. I really am. But I just don't really know what to make of this. So we'll see. I might be able to review all 3 episodes of Ironheart, the first 3 episodes, for next week's episode, but if not, I'll be able to do one for the entire season, I guess, when it comes out, because I'll be traveling for the 4th of July and all that kind of stuff. So may not be able to do Ironheart 1, 2, and 3 when it comes out. We might just do a whole season review when it wraps up. But I I'm holding out for the best. I don't know if I feel super confident in what I've been seeing, just in terms of, the trailers have been fine, but then also this marketing or release strategy. So we will see. I'm really, though, hoping. Again, people think I'm lying when I say this. I really hope Ironheart is the best Disney Plus TV show, because then it means we got something awesome. It means we got something better than WandaVision, and I welcome that. I want the next WandaVision. So we'll see about that. What do you think about this new release strategy? Disney hasn't employed this before. What do you think about this? What does this mean for Ironheart? Let me know in the comments down below.